going to call this meeting to order. I apologize that I'm running a little bit late here. And I was here early. I don't get it. Okay, anyhow. So the regular meeting of the Desert Community College District Board of Trustees is called to order. Please, everyone, turn your cell phones to vibrate or off so that we don't have alarms going off, and I'll try to remember to turn mine off completely so that it doesn't go off at 2:15, because that's when I get to go home from work and I have to remind myself every day. But that's okay. At this time, I'd like to have the Pledge of Allegiance, and could I have Trustee Broughton lead us in that, please? I always do that to people.
Please join me as we honor our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Okay, at this time we'll have roll call.
Trustee Campbell.
Here.
Trustee Broughton.
Here.
Trustee O'Neill.
Present.
Trustee Wilson.
Here.
Trustee Sanchez Fulton.
Here.
Trustee Stephan.
Present. Okay. Oh, it's me. Board meeting agenda. Pursuant to Government Code Section 54954.2b2, the board may take action on items of business not appearing on the posted agenda upon a determination by a two-thirds vote of the board, or if less than two-thirds of the members are present, a unanimous vote of those present, that there is a need to take immediate action and that the need for action came to the attention of the local agency subsequent to the agenda being posted as specified. Are there any additions, corrections, or deletions to the agenda of January 16th, 2014?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Let me make a few things before I acknowledge my trustees, okay? I would like for you to go to consent agenda, human resources, number 4. We're pulling that to the February meeting. The academic calendar. Has everybody found that one?
Say that again, Madam Chair.
Consent agenda A4, academic calendar. We're pulling it till the February meeting. Okay. The next item is on the next page under study session, where it has President's Annual Report. We're pulling that one and we're postponing it until the February meeting. And then there's one request I have to be added, and that is to have one public comment prior to us going to closed session, because these students have to get to a commitment that they have, and they'll be explaining that at the microphone. So if that will be acceptable, we'll be putting that in place there. Now, I saw hands of Trustee O'Neill.
Yes, thank you, Chair. At our December meeting, there was a discussion of an agenda item, the curriculum changes, and there was a split motion. And in the split motion, it was stated that the topic of those 4 or 5 classes, which I will find here, was to be brought back to the January meeting. It does not appear on the agenda. And I believe we should add that to section 9C, student success and student learning, would be number 2. And that motion was to discuss items 54 to 58 of that prior agenda. And those are math classes 001A, 001B, 002A, 002B, and 002C. And those were curriculum modifications.
Okay, we will need that as an action item, though, is that correct?
Yes, so maybe.
So that would be
10C1,
10C1, if I may
yes.
make that correction, would you?
Thank you.
Okay, and that will be added. And then, and perhaps what we need to do is have this accepted with flexibility so that we can have our study session math curriculum prior to that somehow, if we can arrange that.
I think we could incorporate it.
Or incorporate it in, okay? Okay, then we had
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a
Trustee
suggestion.
Sanchez.
Regarding the math, that was actually my 2 items I wanted. Maybe we could put it under information and discussion. So I'd like to pull the review board policy and put that in lieu of the math. Since we were, that we could also do that. I would like to pull that review of board policy 2210, and maybe we could put that in lieu of the math so we can have an informative and a discussion item there. I'm just making a suggestion.
Well,
Actually,
we have it down as a study session, because we have a big presentation plan.
Oh, okay.
And then we also have it as an action item. We can do the study session with the action item. Incorporate it that way so that we can have our discussion then as a motion, hopefully as a motion. Does that be
Oh.
acceptable?
No, just as a discussion. Let's just keep it there then. I have, actually, the reason, another one that I'd like to, is the amendment to the minutes that I submitted to Angela. And if you could include that under the public comment for the Veterans for Peace Award. Thank you.
Oh, was that
Yeah.
something else?
Madam Chair,
Okay. Yes.
can you just clarify where the math section is going to be added to the agenda for me, please?
We're adding it to the action item. So if you go to action items, we're adding C. C would have been student success and student learning.
Okay, thank you.
And then it would be C1, and it would be the course numbers 54 to 58, and it's math curriculum, and we'll be tying in, because we're going to do it with flexibility, the math curriculum study session at that time, because that includes discussion presentation.
Thank you.
Okay? That's it? Did you want something else? No? Okay. Okay, are there any other corrections and additions? Let me go through this so that everybody's aware of what they are, so that, because I know there's a lot of confusion, and I talk very fast. I apologize for that. We have a consent agenda. Human Resources 4 was pulled and postponed till February. We have action agenda. C1 was added, that's math curriculum. We've asked for flexibility so that the study session of math curriculum could be incorporated in there. And then we have pulled study session, President's Annual Report, and postponed that till February. And we have also added, at my request, to have the one public comment by our students done as soon as we approve this agenda before closed session. Okay?
We did that just so it'd be difficult for you.
Could we have a motion to approve all of that nonsense?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Did you get who moved it and who seconded it? That's great, because I didn't. It's been moved and seconded that we confirm the agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Great. Okay, we have now an agenda that stands confirmed as amended with some flexibility in regard to some of the scheduling things. And now, at this time, I would like to bring up two students, and I know I'm going to pronounce these names wrong, Tamara Escobar and Razig Norali. Okay, I hope I didn't make too big a mess of those names. And you can correct those for me if you would. And I know you have something for our trustees as well.
Hi, my name is Razik Nurali. I'm one of the members of the MESA program here at COD. Can you hear me?
Yes. You wouldn't have guessed.
Before I begin saying what I want to talk about, I just want to thank you all for allowing us to speak so early ahead of the other agenda. Right now we are doing a science day where fifth grade students are coming to our coming to the Mesa Center and are watching us do different types of experiments. They're going to get a lecture in chemistry along with geology, and it's overall really fun. There are 20 STEM majors that are actually volunteering as students, to help out, myself included. I would just like, in the letters that you have, it is from the Mesa students that are here presently. It's mainly discussing the changes to the math classes, specifically to 001A, 001B, 002A, B, and C as well. We would just like to give our thoughts in these letters about these changes, because at the Mesa Center, we will be the students that will be the most heavily impacted. Many students who are in there are there because they want to go to a physics major or an engineering major or biology or chemistry or classes that definitely need, or majors that definitely need multivariable calculus or linear algebra or just high-level classes in general. So in these letters, it gives us our thoughts, our possible changes to the, or how the classes are right now, how they will affect us getting an AS degree. Myself, I'm getting an AS degree in physics. And since each class is 5 units, that means that limits the number of classes I can take to get my degree. Ergo, I'm learning less. In addition, the math classes, if they're increased by a certain amount of time, and we're given a lab time as well, that gives us more time to actually work with our teachers. I can only speak for myself in this regard, but I don't learn very well when a teacher is just telling me, by the way, this isn't this, bye, see you next week. I learn when the teacher has time to go in depth, work with me. Even that extra 10 minutes really helps out a lot. And I know a lot of other students would say the same thing. So I'd advise you, please take the time to read this before you make your decision. That would really help us out a lot. In addition, I'd invite all of you, everyone here, to join us at our Science Day. We can show you the experiments. We're going to have dry ice and liquid nitrogen. We'll show you the beauties of math and Fibonacci sequence. And also, we are part of an internship funded by NASA, NSF, the Alumni Association, and we're each working on, in groups of around 4 different projects, ranging from robotics to lead contamination in dietary supplements to gas exchange in the Salton Sea. And this is happening next Friday at our 6:30, and it's open to everyone. We'd love it if you guys can come by. It's totally free. You can sit back and learn something and see how we've done on our projects. If everything is done by ourselves, essentially, with help from Dr. Farmer, Dr. Pellenbarg, and just a bunch of other faculty and other people that have helped us. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you. Have a lovely day.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, we're going to adjourn to recess. I have to learn that new word. Recess to close session, and then we will reconvene in here at 10:30. Blink. There we go. We will reconvene at this time. Sorry that we are a few minutes late, but I tried to allow my board to have some leeway there. Do we have any public comments? Persons who wish to speak to the board on any item should complete the request to address the board form and present it to the secretary. Persons who wish to speak to the board on any item may do so at this time. There is a time limit of 3 minutes per person and 15 minutes per topic unless further time is granted by the board. Oh. Yes. Oh my gosh. Well, we have nothing to report out. I apologize. It was so uneventful in there. So just so you know, there was nothing to report out from closed session. Do I have to reread this? Oh, thank heavens. Okay, so are there any public comments? No public comments at this time. So we will move on. Introduction of new full-time staff.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do we just have Deanna? Oh, I got a list. We are on our game. It's a new year. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Come on, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
All right. First, I'd like to introduce Deanna Morrell, our Director of Financial Aid. Come on up. and Sherry Willis. Is Sherry here? Sherry is not here at this time. We'll have her at the next meeting, our Executive Director of Educational Technology. So, hello, welcome. How many days now?
This is my 5th day.
Well, would you like to say anything?
Just thank you for having me. I've had a great experience these past 5 days, and I look forward to many more.
Well, we're glad to have you here. We're happy.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Very critical.
And President Kinnaman, she's probably going to stay away from you now because you asked her if there was anything she wanted to say in public.
I know.
Okay, moving on. Minutes. Are there any corrections to the minutes of the regular meeting of December 19th, 2014? And it's been brought to my attention. There was a correction. Wait a minute. I lost it.
Page 3.
Page 3. Oh, yes. Public comments, number 1 at the bottom, it was brought to our attention that it should also include also your tireless efforts to advance equality, peace, and social justice. This was in regards to the Veterans for Peace Award for Trustee Fulton.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I would just like to speak to the minutes. I'd like to thank Angela for excellent minutes. I would also like to thank her for her openness for when she sent out those very long, very detailed, excellent minutes that she was open for changes and additions and restatements of things. So I thank you very much for that. They were excellent, and I'm really sorry about the death of your recording machine, but it was obviously for a good cause. So thank you so much for all of that hard work, and thank you for letting us send you back things so that you could clarify the minutes and they actually reflected the best of our ability what happened at that meeting. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, yes.
Okay. Are there any other corrections to the minutes that anybody's aware of? If there are no further corrections to the minutes, they stand approved as corrected. And I haven't gotten fired again. That's good. Okay, reports at this time. ASCOD, John Cepeda. Welcome, John.
Good morning, Madam Chair, board members, senior administration, and distinguished guests. The following is the ASCOD report for the month of January. I hope everyone had a fantastic holiday season and has started the new year off on the right foot. I can see everyone's smiling faces and a few jokes, so I guess that's a good thing. Everyone's happy. The Region 9 meeting that the ASCOD Student Senate hosted last month was very successful. A few people were late due to the rain, which is funny because it never rains here, but when you want to have a meeting, everybody's late for a couple of hours because of rain. But that's just how it works. We're looking forward to presenting the smoking policy and the research from the Honors Program Task Force this coming semester and working with everyone to make sure that those recommendations are can I say this? Making sure the recommendations are sufficient and what the board is looking for and what everyone's looking for. I look forward to reading the information from the study session regarding the math curriculum changes. The Senate and I will continue to work diligently as possible to ensure that the needs of students are met. But I think that we can only do so much as one organization. We might be able to meet the needs of the students, but together we can enhance the student experience here at COD, and I think that's what we're looking for. So I look forward to that in the coming semester. In the upcoming semester, we'll be hosting Club Rush, the annual talent show, and we will be taking students to a few more leadership conferences. I will be bringing more details to the board as they come up. And I look forward to a very productive semester with you all. And that concludes the report for the month of January from ASCOD. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
I liked his technique there. Get all of our attention back. Huh? Okay. College of the Desert Foundation.
They were unable to attend today.
I'm disappointed. They always have such wonderful stories. Okay. Academic Senate.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Beautiful day out. Dr. Kinnaman, with the light coming through the window, you look rather angelic there, I must say.
Oh, Madam Chair, can't we comment on that?
Should I?
I mean that sincerely,
Can you
and as a
take
compliment.
Can you take a
His
picture?
head will swell and we'll
Will you
have a
take a
fat
picture
head
of
on the
that?
wall.
The Senate would like to thank Dr. Kinnaman for his selection of the 12 full-time tenure-track faculty. It was a great effort by many to present him with a prioritized list. The process is strong. We need to refine it and make some changes, but I'm confident this will be done. I will send you feedback I received from faculty on the prioritization process to keep you in the loop. Faculty Innovation Center. The Senate is moving forward with a vision meeting this Tuesday and will continue the brainstorming discussions with each academic unit. The Senate will be developing a timeline and work with students, administration, and staff as appropriate to help bring the center to reality. The Senate would like to thank the Berger Foundation and everyone who's contributed financially to this center. Faculty are excited about this center and how it can better help us serve students. Revisions to the math curriculum. Thank you for your diligence in this matter. We realize and respect your role in the process and appreciate what you do. So much has gone on, so much work has been done. I want to share a few facts which I hope will assist you in making your decision. Some of the math courses were 5 units, which prevented the college from meeting the TMC goals. As suggested in an email sent to all community college from the Chancellor's office, which I've attached, the math department revised the high unit courses to meet the TMCs. They went from 5, it should say units, to 4 units. Transfer model curriculum templates, which were provided to all community colleges from the Chancellor's office, list 4-unit math courses. Again, see attached, please. Faculty have proposed curriculum changes to courses where they go from a model of lecture only to lecture lab. These courses have been approved by the Senate and the Board of Trustees in the past. For example, CIS 17 and HS 72. I do not suggest that this past practice mandates all courses that follow this model must be approved. I point this out only to inform the board it has been done in the not so recent and recent past. In an effort to improve student success, math proposed a lecture lab model where students would receive greater access to their professors and to the knowledge they possess. The Senate didn't take these changes lightly and worked to provide discussion.
Is there any objection to him concluding this part? Go ahead.
Thank you very much.
He's supposed to have 5 minutes.
It's 5.
5 minutes.
Thank you very much. The Senate didn't take these changes lightly and worked to provide discussion and debate with all parties. It wasn't rubber stamped. In fact, some of the proposed math curriculum changes were not approved by the Senate. Math has been criticized for low success rates and not doing anything about it. They took action using Chancellor's Office guidelines in an effort to improve student success. It was vigorously debated by the Senate and all parties involved. This is a great opportunity to see if this model will work. The Senate is requesting that you approve the math curriculum before you. Thank you for your diligence in all matters before you, and thank you for your support of the College of the Desert faculty.
Thank you,
Thank
Doug.
you very much. And I apologize that we didn't have the timer set correctly, and I also apologize if anybody was watching my walker decided to walk away there for a minute. At this time, we'll move on to the Faculty Association. Denise Steinman.
Thank you so much. Members of the board, on behalf of the Faculty Association, we extend best wishes for a healthy and fulfilling 2015 to everyone. And as the semester and new year begin, we are looking forward to a renewed spirit of collaboration and communication. The association looks forward to continuing to participate on the Health and Welfare Committee, the Budget Committee, the Academic Calendar, Safety, CPC, and the President's Council. And I gladly accepted all the invitations to the President's Council, so thank you for that renewed effort. The Faculty Association ended the year with a fun celebration off campus, and we look forward to the dinner sponsored by the Foundation next week during Flex as another opportunity to enjoy and build a sense of community together. These events are really fun. The Faculty Association extends a warm welcome to our 12 new temporary full-time colleagues. I will be meeting with them during their orientation next week. Across the disciplines, it is reasonable that many of our well-qualified adjuncts applied for these positions. However, there remains a disproportionate number who were hired. And I can just tell you, I have a bias. I came from adjunct faculty. I was overlooked at least once, if not twice. I hung in there with many a part-time job, including up at Cal State San Bernardino and many things here in the desert. And I understand some of those issues. I hope to have, in the last 18 years, proven myself in many different roles worthy of having become full-time faculty at College of the Desert. But I am very committed to this issue. The Faculty Association is committed to working collaboratively with HR in addressing many of the issues that relate to internal hiring opportunities at all levels here at College of the Desert. We have a long way to go in establishing a culture and specific pathways for our internal candidates at all levels. This past semester, under unique circumstances, HR has done an extraordinary job, and the entire staff at HR needs to be commended. We all have networks. I personally know from within my network of almost a dozen people who interacted with HR for a variety of job applications and issues, and were always treated professionally, even if it was a little harried sometime, and, you know, Marisol, I get back to you and things like that. But again, thanks a lot. It was extraordinary, all the amount of work that had to be done there this last semester. As we move forward with the 8 new postings, the faculty is committed to reviewing job descriptions, desired qualifications, and training for a very transparent hiring process here at College of the Desert. These are our new career colleagues, and the process is very important to us. The posting of 8 new positions is very good news. We are growing, and we need to. The full-time faculty number has hovered at 103 for almost 10 years. When Jack Tapleshay was president, I think in 95 or 96, it was 117 full-time faculty, and we have yet to hit that number since. We must also address the issues of replacement of faculty, and this is over and beyond the prioritizing process. A case in point near and dear to my heart is our school psychologist. We have many diverse student needs, and they need to be addressed with a full-time position. With the new SERP that is being talked about, replacement guidelines are critical. Faculty, and especially students, are impacted when degree programs do not have a full-time faculty member spokesperson. Again, we urge careful planning and inclusion of all the constituency groups involved. On January 28th, this next week, the association will be bargaining. We hope to finalize last year's bargaining. We look forward to a productive session on health benefits, salary, and appropriately remunerating longevity faculty, which constitute about half of the current faculty. As we welcome new faculty, we must also attend to faculty who have decades of service to the college community. Our history and institutional memory are very important. As we embrace new people and new ideas, it's a balance, and we're committed to that balance. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And at this time, we would look forward to hearing from CODA, College of the Desert Adjunct Association. And I noticed we did not have David Beige or Kathy, so I did not mention him.
I'm the first alternate, you know that.
Yes.
David is actually teaching winter session, and so he doesn't get out for another hour or so. And I rolled down the hill, and I went to an interview this morning for counselors, and they let me out in time so that I can be here.
Will you let him know we miss him?
But we're glad to have you here, too.
I wouldn't
Oh, I
want,
didn't realize it
I
sounded
wouldn't
that
want to
way.
give him a swelled head about these things like he
Or
was
we'd have
really
another
missed.
fat head on the wall, right?
That's true. That's true. Anyway, we want to say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and we're back. We're all back and ready for Flex for next week. And this has been a quiet month during the semester break. Several adjuncts are teaching in the winter intersession, and we do totally appreciate the opportunity to earn the extra income and hope that the district appreciates the service adjuncts are providing to our students. Once again, CODA will be conducting 2 flex sessions at the end of the month, Adjunct Essentials, that Jules and I do, and then David does conducting effective self-evaluations. And we're getting very good response, particularly on this, the self-evaluation thing. That was a big hurdle for a lot of adjuncts to realize that they had to do this, and most of them are real pleased with the process and feel that this is giving them an opportunity to explain why they are so good at what they do. And so that's all very positive. And as usual, we'd like to invite all of you to come to any of the presentations that we are participating in. Now that the full-time temporary faculty positions have been filled, we must express our extreme disappointment, and this comes from lots of different areas of our constituency, that some of these positions were filled with external candidates, and even though there were highly qualified adjuncts under consideration, frequently this took the form of picking somebody who had less experience, less interest in the campus, and was further away. And this really disappoints people. And so we're trying to deal with this on a local level among ourselves at this point. But we would like, of course, to remind everybody that we have known entities here who have good references and good experience and really would like better consideration. And so once again, our adjuncts feel like they are less than equal, and once again, this is being accepted as this is just the way that business is done at this school. And we hope that the board will take this very seriously and take steps to prevent a repetition of this kind of a presumption. The other thing that we should mention is that we're very disheartened about what's going on with our FRC. We have been cut back. Originally, we were in Building C, and we had a little more than half of the office space over there. We had places where we could hold office hours, and that was before office hours were mandatory. Since then, we were cut back and put over into the HILB, and we have that ring of offices around the outer edge that are dedicated so that we have a place where we can have a computer, like a bullpen with computers and stuff, and an office where we can use the Scantron and some other office equipment, and our mailboxes are there. We also have 3 offices on the opposite side that allow us to have a refrigerator and microwave and that kind of stuff, and then that office and 2 others can be used for conducting our office hours. With the new floor plan, the way it has been approached, we were told that we would be losing one of those offices, and we would have 2 offices for CODA use. Originally 3, but they had to put a bathroom in. So we said, okay, fine. Now we are saying that they are going to put 2 bathrooms in. We will have an office for a night supervisor, and that we will only have the bullpen area over there, which is not even as large as the area that we have now. This means that we have no place where we can privately meet with students. We have more than 400 adjuncts teaching in any one semester. There is no dedicated space with a door that closes that allows us to meet with a student privately. By law, we are not allowed to meet with them in that bullpen area because of the privacy issues. I talked to Lisa Howell about this earlier this week after we were informed of this by Mac McGinnis, and she said, well, we never promised you that you'd have offices. We can't do this unless we do have offices. We cannot go through with having private interviews with students, and we are now required to hold office hours as part of our contract, so we need an office to hold them in. Okay? We're open to suggestions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kathy.
At this time, we'll move on to Laurel Jimenez, California School Employees Association, CSCA.
Good morning, trustees, student trustee, Dr. Kinnaman. Newly elected Chapter CSCA officers, members of Chapter 407, have elected Pam Chapman as the third vice president, Wanda de Hoyos as public relations officer, and re-elected for a second 3-year term as chapter president is Lauro Jimenez. Last Friday, we were administered the oath of office at our annual Region 10 CSCA chapter officer installation dinner. I was reminded of our obligation to represent our members and to uphold not only our collective bargaining agreement, but also the Constitution of the United States of America. One of the items that we were given gave me reason to pause, and I thought I'd share with you. It says, for the chapter president position, you have been elected as the leader and advisor of this chapter. Your duties are most important. You are the chapter's chief executive officer, and the burden of its success rests upon your shoulders. They never told me this. Your office demands initiative, courage, faith, loyalty, and understanding. The badge of your office is the gavel, an emblem of your authority. And then further on, it talked about the authority of the chapter president, as determined by the chapter constitution, to effectively represent the interest of chapter and bargaining unit members before the employer's governing board, administrators, and since many of our chapters are in unified school districts, and or personnel commission. These were things that I never really thought about. I've been doing this for 3 years, and it really hit home. It is a very challenging office. As elected officials quite well see, you are here to represent, as I'm here representing over 200 classified staff. And they also expect me to be able to handle all the issues that they think they have with their employer, and advise them on so many things. And it's a challenge, and it's a sacrifice for whoever fills this position, as those have in the past, and also for myself. I wanted to also, along those lines, the CSCA State Board of Directors, which this is for the state, at the state level, they typically meet in San Jose, where our headquarters are. And actually, for the first time in a long time, they will actually be meeting here tomorrow at Desert Sands. And so I'd like to extend their invitation. It will be held at the Desert Sands Unified School District. So Saturday, January 17th, the Dune Palms facility. There's a continental breakfast at 8:15, and the meeting starts at 9 a.m. And if you're interested in coming, if you could let me know, then I can let them know, so they may have something for you. So that's actually quite exciting for us. We're growing, in a sense, in our importance over here in this far reaches of the Coachella Valley, and it's good to see that happen. We also have had more and more of our trainings for our officers out here, so that's quite gratifying. Wanted to give you an update in terms of negotiations. We met on Wednesday, and we signed a tentative agreement on 2 positions, and I'm sure the science faculty will be glad to know that we've signed off on laboratory specialist science, and it'll go to ratification with our chapter 1 week from today, and then I assume it'll come to the board for your approval at your next meeting. So that's good success there. Also wanted to bring up to your attention, the Wednesday was our 7th meeting, negotiations. We're making progress. We're capturing some of what we've talked about in writing in a way that we both agreed to what it means. This is important. And I wanted to also talk to the board and bring to your attention, as you've heard in previous reports, in terms of parity of things. We were looking, Coachella Valley Unified pays 100% of premiums for health insurance, and they actually do so from the last contract I saw for those who are 20-hour employees. We don't start until 29 and a half. Desert Sands is up in the area of 16,000 for their cap. We're requesting in our proposal 16,200. We're trying to meet in the middle, and we feel as a chapter that it's a very important, and they've directed us as a chapter and negotiating team to stand firm in these areas. And we really appreciate Diane in her interim role. It's been a challenge, and even in sickness, she's been there. Thank you for your time. Appreciate all that you do. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. At this time, we move into the governing board, and I'm going to start with student trustee, Trustee Campbell.
Hi, everybody. Well, it's been a great little vacation for me. I'd like to start off by saying I attended our Region 9 meeting, and I was a little under the weather, so I had to leave early. But I know that lots of students did come. I think we waited about 45 minutes before we got to start our meeting because of the rain. But I know lots of work got finished there. I have met with students regarding action item 1, and I plan on relaying their message later on today. I look forward to seeing more updates regarding our soccer field as we are upgrading all areas in the athletic facilities. I look forward to seeing that on next month's agenda. Also, I'm going to plan on attending on the Flex workshops coming up. Those are always fun, and I like to share the information with my board also. Let's see. Oh, I want to thank College of the Desert for offering the winter sessions for those students who were able to take advantage of these classes. I know I have lots of friends that were able to attend, and it fit into their schedule, and they're happy that they're going to be able to transfer on sooner. I also look forward to seeing in next month's agenda more student workers. This time I think there was only 2 in there, and I know students need to work. So hopefully we'll see more student workers in next month's agenda. I was contacted by a few students who attend Indio, and they were concerned about the lab not being open on Fridays, and I kind of told them about the staffing and stuff like that, but Fridays just kind of seems like the weekend's coming up, and if they don't have any other place to go to access a computer and printing, so they shared concerns about that. I was contacted over winter session by community member Travis Emery, who's very much interested in creating a grant for the counseling area. And so I'm going to follow up with the foundation and have them work with him in this regards. And that does conclude my report.
Thank you very much. Very informative. Trustee Broughton.
Excuse me. It has
I got
been
you with a mouthful again?
No, not my mouthful, just my little cough thing that's going on. Yeah, that's what it is, definitely. I have enjoyed this holiday, as I hope each of you have, with an opportunity to visit with family and friends and spend some quality time doing a few items that you would like. Many of us, those items were things that helped prepare us to do our jobs better. But for those of us that are really happy with what we do, then that's what brings us pleasure. I've had an opportunity to speak with a number of local residents, and in my case, those local residents are basically further east. And I have to say that having the extra classes that we've added has really helped a lot of people. When I looked at that very nice email that Dr. Kinnaman sent out, it sort of brings the numbers to life. When we're talking about few over 3,000 students that have been bottlenecked, so to speak, at the College of the Desert that are ready to move on, you easily see that there's 91% of them that need science. So this screams to us, I mean, on a personal note, it screams to us we need that lab at Mecca Thermal Campus. But it also screams to us that that the labs at India will be well used and our beautiful facilities here will be well used. So it should say something to us that it's 91% of those students that need science, and Eleanor has been one of those students for some time. The other two really high numbers were the 61% that needed math or history type classes. So that too is quite significant. I was somewhat relieved to see that it was only 12% that needed English, so we are doing a somewhat better job reaching out, offering those English classes. And it was 28% that need speech, and speech to me just dovetails with that English. It's an opportunity for those students to learn to present themselves, to not learn only the academics, because the more you read, the better your vocabulary is, and the better you're able to express yourself. But if you don't have an opportunity to do that, you don't really grow as a college student must. And I think our students from the east end of the valley that are not only first generation students to go to college, but often the first generation to graduate from high school, don't have that opportunity for public speaking. So again, I thank the college for offering those opportunities. I think that Eleanor's comment about the computers needs to be emphasized, the access to computers. Often we think, well, everyone has a tablet or everyone has a telephone. But for those of us that live at the edge of the earth, our internet's not really all that good. And so we may have those items, but it doesn't mean we have real internet access. So our college facilities offer that internet access to many students that those of you that live in town forget that there isn't that good access. So I am asking administration to remember that, and faculty, and that those items need to be factored in. Not that we should avoid assignments that students need. Au contraire, we need to be sure that those students have an opportunity to use their computers to get to the internet so they can continue and grow. And as they move from the College of the Desert to their next step, whether it's employment, whether it's more years at school, they're going to need to be able to be computer literate. So thank you for these classes. It will help those students move on, and let's help make these opportunities the best that we can. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee, oh wait, I hope everybody will indulge us. When we got here, we had to arrange the board arrangement because we were in the seats previously. But one thing we forgot to do was to rearrange the seats, and you all know I have a miserable back, and it's telling me something's wrong, and I just looked. She's got my chair, which means so would you indulge us for about 1 minute while we rotate chairs? We're not really playing musical chairs. We're trying to. Does that make sense? Do you understand what I'm saying? You have the BS.
Okay.
She has the BS chair. That's me.
So we have, okay.
That's I think that's BB. Is that BB?
That's BB.
BB is Becky.
Oh, then we have your good. Here we go.
Much better.
Okay.
We positioned these chairs to
I'm sure
accommodate
that looks
us.
great
so.
when we put this on the
I
YouTube.
apologize
You
to the
might want
world.
to cut that part out, Mike.
But if you had my back, you'd understand. Okay. Might not make that big a difference, but I was like, ooh. Okay, I apologize. Okay,
Does make a
Trustee
difference.
O'Neill, we're back to you now.
Yeah,
Thank you, audience.
Madam Chair. I do hope everyone had a very healthy, happy, relaxed time, New Year's, vacation, all those elements that we roll into that what we now call winter break. And I hope everybody's back, ready to roll and move forward. This month, I just have a few updates. Last month, I mentioned I was working with Micheline Gallagher at the Annenberg Foundation. She's the director, and this is a title that I don't think I'd ever want to have. She's the Director of Education and Environmental Programs, Sunnylands Center and Gardens, the Annenberg Retreat at Sunnylands.
Her card's like this.
But she gets it all on there. You can't read it very well. But I have been able to arrange that she will be presenting at our February meeting at 1:30 when we return from closed session at noon. And she will be discussing what we are currently interacting with the Annenberg Foundation and the Sunnylands, period. And hopefully the goal here is to expand upon what we're currently doing. So she will be coming with some ideas, and I'm hoping that the board and staff will be thinking of things where we can expand our cooperative working relationship. We currently have a relationship in place with our horticulture department. Jeff Place does some work there with their staff. We have also some turf grass management interaction. That's a good first start, but they do many more things at Sunnylands than we are familiar with. I know Ms. Trustee Campbell has been there for a number of events, one of which was when one of the Chief Justice was there of the Supreme Court. They have ongoing events, and we may be able to take a much better, more active involvement in life at Sunnylands. We're very fortunate they want to work with us. There's not another community college in the world that would have such an institution in their backyard. So I'm hoping that we can build upon this, and this will be the beginning of establishment of a long working relationship with that very great institution. So that will be at February. I do want to just bring back for reminder's sake that we have a commitment to the Wright family and the Garrow family with regard to memorializing their prior contributions, and I just hope that is still moving forward as we finish up the construction of the athletic facilities. And we also I was asked, and I know Trustee Sanchez asked too, about the dedication plaques on the new buildings. So if that is moving forward. And we have a very exciting flex time coming up. I see it's ready to go there. Our flex persons are right there, Lisa. And so I look forward to attending many of those events as I possibly can. So thank you very much. Very brief today.
Okay, thank you very much. Trustee Wilson.
Thank you. Mine is also going to be very brief. Happy New Year, everyone. I am officially retired as of December 30th. So I am getting used to, I guess, what would be termed a new life schedule, and have settled in my new home in Palm Desert and making some adjustments there. Just a few items that I'd like to pass on. I volunteered with the College of the Desert Friends of the Library book fair that was held at Barnes & Noble. And it is a wonderful fundraiser that this small little group does once a year to raise funds to help offset costs of its annual author luncheon, which is going to be in February. So I was actually at Barnes & Noble with my COD t-shirt on, asking for folks who buy their books to mention COD at the checkout time, and then we get a portion of the funds. So that was a really great event. I'm also working with the Palm Desert Rotary, which has put together an Educators Award. It will be open to the schools and colleges within the boundaries of the city of Palm Desert. The application should be released in the next few weeks. It's a $1,000 award to educators. So I would encourage those to feel free to go on to the Palm Desert Rotary site in the next few weeks and keep an eye out for that application. And that's pretty much it. I'm looking forward to attending the Flex events this month. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Trustee Sanchez-Fulton.
First of all, Happy New Year. It was a very restful New Year and holiday. Just want to do a couple of, mine's going to be very brief as well. Just want to let you know that several constituents from Desert Hot Springs were very happy to hear that we're offering more courses at Desert Hot Springs High School and Palm Springs High School. So it's going to make it very special for them. So they, a lot of the communities way out there, just like in Becky's, they don't have transportation. So to have classes at the high school, and it's a great access to a lot of our vulnerable students as well. I just also want to mention on January 12th and 13th, we hosted the Cleary Conference. So a lot of Facebook and said, what a beautiful campus. And I want to thank all the staff that helped put that together. I heard a lot of great things happened here, and they were very pleased. They said it nationally, how lovely our campus and how everybody was especially warm to them with the beautiful weather. So that was great to hear that feedback from them. Also want to give a shout out. On January 17th, we're going to have our 3rd annual Automotive Club. I just want to let everyone know, please come out and support our 3rd annual. It's not our 2nd, it's our 3rd annual. So just want to mention and just remind everyone, please come support, because that supports our book program. It supports a lot for our tools. So I just want to mention that and kind of give a shout out to that. Also want to mention that during the holiday, we had something very special at Desert Hot Springs. We had a mural dedication of the orca. So we had a beach party in the desert, yes. And we had an informational booth and just spoke to a lot of the community members. And I want to thank a lot of the staff here that helped me get the necessary items to bring that to the people that can't come out here. Also want to mention that we're going to be working very closely with the Modernism Week. I want to give a shout out to a lot of the board members. She wanted to come out here and give a presentation. Maybe we can do that in February. But I want to thank Bert. Last year, he brought numerous students to Modernism Week, a lot of our architectural students, so they got firsthand knowledge of what's going on. So this collaboration with Modernism Week, we hope that they can come out here and maybe make a presentation to us. But it was a wonderful experience. The invitation is being set for all the board members, if they want to come out for Modernism Week, to take that tour. So you'll get more information, and they should be making a presentation next month. Another item I want to mention, I want to welcome our financial aid director. That's going to be a key decision for the whole Coachella Valley. I want to mention some key dates. January 22nd, Palm Desert High School, our staff and our faculty, we're going to be out there for our financial aid workshops. January 28th, we're going to be at Desert Hot Springs High School giving out financial aid workshops. January 29th, it's going to be at Cathedral City High School. So I really want to thank all the people from the financial aid office that make these awesome financial aid workshops. I go to them every year, and it's so great that our staff is there and our faculty and giving out that information. Next month, I will come out with some new dates for February. I also want to mention the deadlines. There's a lot of scholarships that are coming out. I will be forwarding this information. Southern California Edison is having a scholarship due February 1st for a lot of the students that are majoring in math and STEM majors. So I'll be forwarding that information to our staff, and just really excited for our flex schedule that's coming up, and I really am looking forward to attend. I attend all the time, and I just want to thank everyone here that we do so much. And it's 2015, and looking forward to seeing everyone to do such a great job. Thank you for your time. Thank you for all the work you all do. Thank you. That ends my report.
Thank you, Trustee Sanchez-Fulton. At this time, my report. First off, Happy New Year! Oh, that was terrible. I make my kids do it individually if they don't do it better than that. So Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Okay. I didn't start the meeting out with that because you weren't here. Tardy. No, I'm a teacher. What can I say? This year, as you know, one thing that I said I would make a priority this year was education. And board education, I think, is just as important as education of our students here, because we're supposed to be the leaders, so we need to be educated. So I'd like to make, without objection from the board, and I know this is not intended to be an action item, so I hope our parliamentarian won't red flag me on this. I would like, since I'm unable at this time to utilize my travel expense as a board member, you know, we each have a little bit of travel expense money. Because of the fact that I had a hip injury without knowing it, and I was walking around on it before Christmas, they discovered what it was. I had 2 torn ligaments in my hip. I've had the injection, so I feel better, but I'm not supposed to do a lot of lifting of luggage and traveling. So I'd like to donate my travel money and appoint Trustee Sanchez-Fulton as our ACC representative to the next 2 conferences that they have, which is, there's one in Washington, D.C. next month, and that is the Political Action Conference. And the following month, they have the Government's Leadership Institute, and I believe that one is in...
There's one in New York City, Madam Chair.
New York
March.
City, yeah.
Yes.
So if you would attend those for the board, I would really appreciate that. Trustee Sanchez?
If that's okay with...
Well, I was also
Thank you.
going to plan on attending the one in New York City.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and I think we have that down
Okay,
too.
thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so we will have that. And then in the past, we, at one time, we had a president of the college that we appointed to Haku. And I would like to appoint Trustee Sanchez-Fulton to attend the Haku conference in the fall for us, if you would do that, please.
It would be an honor for the Haku conference.
Okay. And then the board members, those of you that have been served on the board with me before know that I like to put you into groups of 2s and then send you out to meet with our vice presidents and get trained on what we have to offer at the college in those various areas. Have them train you so that you don't just have the formal training that we received at the state level or the national level or from reading the materials, but also from our local people that are experts on our college. So I would like to have Trustee Broughton and Trustee Sanchez-Fulton work first with Vice President, I guess we call you executive somebody now or something, executive director or something. Anna Davies in academics. And I would like to have Trustee Wilson and Trustee O'Neill work with, on finances with,
Lisa Howe.
Howell. Lisa Howell, she's not sitting over there, so I can't, you know, I'm like, ching. And then that leaves Trustee Sanchez-Fulton and myself.
No, Trustee.
No.
Excuse me, you've appointed Trustee. I think you've said
Oh, I'm sorry.
you have.
I did that wrong. I meant to do Trustee Broughton and Trustee Campbell on the academics, because I want the student trustee to be in there first on academics, okay? And, I'm sorry, Trustee Sanchez-Fulton and myself will go learn about HR from our interim director. So we're most abreast of that, as many concerns today were related to HR in different reports. And we have ongoing negotiations that we can't talk about negotiations, but we can talk about other things.
Okay.
And I did do the other thing, right? Okay. So that.
So I'm not in that, it's HR.
HR, you're with me
Okay.
in HR. And then something that was brought up by 2 of our newer board members in the past as they joined our board, and I know Trustee Sanchez-Fulton has offered her services in this area before, is we do not have anything to give someone that joins our board as to what is expected of a board of trustee. So I would like for Trustee Sanchez-Fulton, I'm sorry, and myself, can I continue?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. He's saying no, give it up.
Oh my God.
Okay. I know what to do with him. to work on something that is a compilation of what the state guidelines are that are put out, what the nation says we should be doing as trustees, and having pertinent information as related to our college, and compiling it and bringing it back to the board for your approval that we could give to new board members, should we ever, ever, ever have a new board member. And I hope you know we've all super glued those chairs that I rotated to the floor and changed you to those seats. So don't forget that one. We won't have to use it, right? That would be the day. Okay? And I just want to wish you all a very merry, very happy New Year. Merry, merry New Year. And I hope for the very best for all of your classes in 2015. And all of our students the very best. And I know that I started off the new year watching the Rose Parade with all of the stories that they were telling from the past. And I know we're going to have many more stories to tell in the future. And I hope they're all positive ones. And I hope we'll all be telling very nice stories and stories of success. Maybe they don't start out successfully, but hopefully we'll all end successfully. So with that, moving on, administrative reports.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First, I would like to announce an award that the college received, and it's an award that actually there were 8 institutions across the country that received awards, and I've got a copy of a magazine, and on page 30 I've got a copy for each one of you. It's University Business Magazine, and on page 30, College of the Desert, in admissions and admissions and records, and the award is here. It's called College of the Desert Admissions and Records 2014 Honoree Enterprise Content Management System. There's this lovely plaque here, and I believe we have staff, and Sally I think is here also if you want to all come up and we can talk to you.
It's on page 30.
I'm ready. Oh my goodness, I want a picture. Wait, you guys. I want to take a picture.
Everybody squish together. That way you all look thinner if you squeeze together. Not get the other two in there. Squeeze together.
There we go. Okay.
Yay!
Awesome. Wait. Joel, get a little closer.
Squeeze together, people.
I want to focus.
And
welcome back, Sally.
that appeared on page 30 for the board members as we pass those little magazines down. The UB magazines. Do we have any more UB magazines? We don't have any more of these? Oh, there. Okay. One per person. Okay. We don't have one for the student trustee.
Is this the one that was won in December?
This one was
December issue.
17th.
December newsletter.
Okay, this is extremely beautiful. We're very, very proud of our admissions and records honorees for their achievement. That is wonderful.
Joel, was that the new system?
Yes.
Anything else?
Yes, I do.
Oh, you do?
If I may.
All right.
Did you want to elaborate any more on that? Okay, I thought I'd give you an opportunity.
That's a wonderful award.
Again, we've mentioned winter already, but again, I'd like to acknowledge the staff. We had 48 sections with 1,430 approximately enrollments. 1,430 approximately. And, those are individuals that are able to move along, as many of you have indicated, down whatever their pathway is. So I'm pleased that we were able to do that. This summer we also are going to be very aggressive on our summer schedule so that we can continue to provide the classes that our students need, that they actually do need to take. In addition, you received the email where we're going to be going out and recruiting for 12 new permanent faculty positions. So we'll continue that commitment as well. This semester, we've had a lot of discussion about planning here, and facilities planning and educational planning in the West Valley and the East Valley, etc. So over this semester, we're going to update our educational master plan. It needs updating, and again, we want to make sure that our ed plan is what is driving any facilities plan when we go to update the facilities plan as well. And so I'll be announcing that at Flex, and we'll have some breakout sessions, some data sessions about our college and our service area, and it should be pretty informative, and hope to get people's feedback at those sessions. And then we'll spend some time with town halls and other consultation processes so that we can go through and get that updated. The goal is to get it updated by the end of the spring semester. I am pleased that our interim director, Stan Henry, has identified a way to, for all of our classrooms that we're unable to lock from the inside, that they are going to be able to lock, and so devices are being installed, should be installed by the end of January for all those classrooms.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah,
Thank you.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, I'm really happy that they were able to provide that. In addition, the security cameras at Mecca Thermal are in place, so making progress with that as well. And I'd like to thank Lisa for all the work that you're doing. I know how challenging it is and frustrating it is when you're trying to put together a schedule for Flex, and you have a lot of different people providing a lot of input at sometimes not the best stages of the process. So I know you'll be glad to get this to rest and get the semester started, but thank you for everything you're doing, okay? And I believe that's the end of my report. Thank you.
Okay. Joel, are we going to have may I speak, Chairman? Mm-hmm. The American Promise, are we going to be speaking a little bit about, for those that don't know, this was the what's going on with the president with addressing the community colleges. Are we going to be having a study session on the American Promise? Thank you.
I'm so glad you brought that up. That was part of my report. Actually, today, well, it should be over there already, we submitted an op-ed to the newspaper about that. And so hopefully they'll like it and decide they want to publish it. If not, we can certainly circulate it here as well. And it's, I think, informative. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Just one question. When we have things in the newspaper about us, like the article where you were quoted this week, if someone could give us a heads up, because I mean, I get to the newspaper, but it might not be too much later in the day, and meanwhile, I run into somebody who's asking me questions about what was in the newspaper, and I'm like, oh, sure, okay. So if things like that happen, if we could just get a quick blitz.
We will tighten that process.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah.
Anything else?
So there might be something Sunday, okay?
Okay. So that's the first advance warning. Okay, thank you.
Hopefully good. Okay, next item is consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda will be considered for approval by a single vote without discussion. Any board member may request that an item be pulled from the consent agenda to be discussed and considered separately in the action agenda. And we've already pulled item 4A4 and postponed that to February. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented at this time?
You do?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda as it was modified today. Is there any discussion?
Yes, I would like to take this opportunity, as we always try to, because it's so important, to thank individuals that donate these, donate items and that donate their time to this university, this college. It ties us together in many ways, both in that our students have more supplies to work with. They have access to things they'd never have to work with, as well as we have the opportunity to have the experiences, the benefits of the experience of all these people. So I can't say thank you enough, and I'm sure I speak for other board members to say that.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Any other discussion? Seeing none. Student Trustee Campbell, your advisory vote?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The motion has carried unanimously. Action agenda. At this time, we have nothing that was pulled from the consent agenda for separate discussion and consideration. So that moves us down to administrative services, non-resident and foreign tuition fees. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
It's been moved. Is there a second? Second. It's been moved and seconded to approve the non-resident and foreign tuition fees. So we are now open for discussion. Anybody have anything they want to say on that?
Would you like a little
Would we
bit
like
of
to have a background?
Yes.
Okay, certainly. John, do you want to?
Sure. Every year, we're required by law to present to the State Chancellor's Office what we will be charging our non-resident students for fees in the coming year, the 15-16 year coming up. And it's based on a calculation that looks at statewide averages, it looks at the cost of expenses, and it gives us the option to look at how we set our rates. And our rate happens to sit right exactly at the average per unit semester cost across the state. We usually run really close to that, and that's where that lands this year. This year we've added new. We have not charged before. Of course, I don't have a lot of history with that, but the capital outlay fee. And the capital outlay fee is brought in there under the recognition that non-resident students use our facilities, and yet they're not paying for those facilities the same way that local residents do through their property taxes and that. And therefore, law allows us to recover a fee based on the costs that we have. The calculated cost was very high because we've been spending a lot of money. It's based on how much money you spent last year and then spreading it across per unit and or per student. And based on that, it was very high, and law only allows it to be less, either the less of what's calculated or 50% of what the actual per unit non-resident tuition fee would be, which would place it at $100, which was quite high. So what we did was we looked at as many colleges across the state and took an average of what was being charged there. And that was a much more reasonable number, from $100 fee down to $21 fee. And that money is restricted to be used for facility repairs and improvements. And so if there's any other questions on that.
Question?
Yes. I have quite a few questions, but I'm not sure if I should just do one at a time or.
Well, let's try one at a time.
Okay. So I did speak with students on behalf of this action item. So the first question we want to know is what were the nearby schools and districts, and where were their locations?
You know, I don't have the specific list, but it was a statewide across the state, and a lot of them in Southern California, like Chaffee and some of the other ones, and they ranged anywhere. Again, they were basing it on the calculation of what they spent out of capital money, and it ranged anywhere from, I believe, probably a low of about, I think $3 or $4, something like that, up to a high of in the 60s. So, but you know, on a straight average, it was $21.
Okay, next question.
Okay. The next question was, will this decrease our enrollment in these types of students? Because students that are non-resident, when they're looking for an affordable college, they're looking for location, they're looking for affordability, and we may, be a little lower, and so that might draw students to come here. And so that was one of the concerns. And then also I was wondering to know if our enrollment was decreased, say by 30, 40, 50%, what would that look like in the numbers if we raise the prices, and even though, if the enrollment's going to decrease, what are those numbers going to look like?
Okay, let's let him answer those, because some of us will get lost if we don't. Okay.
Looking at our fees in comparison to other colleges, they're not out of line in any way, and it wouldn't place us particularly high. I'm not aware of any factors that would cause them to not come to us based on just that, because it is comparable to what other colleges do. And I don't know if, Ms. Davies, if you have something else to...
Okay, so a comment that they had was that if they had to pay $100 per unit at College of the Desert, or pay, $100 per unit at a college near, Santa Monica, and it's the same, in Southern California, and they have to pay that extra, they'll probably go over to the school by the beach than to come here where they can afford it. So that was one of their comments. Also, I wanted to know if the enrollment did decrease, is this also going to affect the staff, the professors, or any programs we have for these students?
No, it wouldn't. It's completely independent. Again, it's with an eye of looking at maintaining and making sure that we have adequate and good facilities for them. So,
okay, thank you.
Sure.
Just for a historical point of view, these questions have usually come up in prior years, and it would help if we had some of the backup material that we had in prior years, which would be a listing of those comparison schools and their fees that they charge. I think that would have answered a lot of the students' concerns. We're probably still a bargain if you compare us to other colleges in a similar environment. I don't think you're going to get into the beach colleges for less money than you're going to attend here. That's not how it works. Mm-hmm. And not all the colleges all offer as large of an international program as we do. So I think if the next year when this comes before us, if it comes with more backup, would be better.
I agree.
Okay, is there any other discussion? Anyone else have anything else?
I have another question in regards to that. Maybe in a future meeting, we'll talk about Jerry Brown's higher education budget. I would like to see how, I have some numbers, but that you could just download it at a website, but I would like to know how his budget, the 11 million, I have some, and how is that going to affect, because I believe in part of the provision of the governor's plan for higher education, page 33, it mentions something about out-of-state tuition. Is that going to affect community colleges? I know it's affecting UC and state. How is that going to affect us here at the community college? Thank you.
We haven't received. I had the pleasure of being up in Sacramento on Wednesday to be at the governor's budget proposal. Right. They didn't provide a lot of specifics yet. There's still a lot of unknowns as to how money's going to be allocated at the chancellor's office level. So we're still waiting for that detail. But what we do know is that yes, there is significant new money coming to us, and the best news is that we are looking to get a significant bump in our base rate, which is that is huge news for us because we kind of got bypassed when K-12 got a lot, and and they recognize that really we've had a lot of operating costs that we've not been able to meet. So that's good news, along with further expansion of other programs like 3SP and some of the other things that are coming along.
Thank you. So maybe at a next study session it would be nice to have how is that going to affect us here.
Yes, in fact, as the budget, the spring is always fun to watch how the budget unfolds and changes, and so we'll certainly keep abreast of that so that when it's time for adoption of the budget, that we're really clear and understand all those nuances.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none. Student trustee Campbell, your advisory vote?
At this time, my advisory vote is going to be nay, based on my constituents. And they believe that it's going to decrease the diversity here at our college, which is a college experience in itself for the community college. Thank you.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? And the motion carried. Our advisory vote was nay, but the board voted approved 5 to the 1 nay.
Madam Chair, can
You count
that
that
vote,
way?
can the minutes reflect the reasoning behind our student trustees' vote? I think that's
Yes,
important.
I think it will.
Thank you.
Kind of like a dissenting opinion.
I know that's always been a concern in the past, you know, if we would be making it the tuition too high for foreign students. Budget revisions. Do I have a motion to approve budget revisions as presented?
So moved.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded to approve the budget revisions as presented. Is there any discussion?
I just want to comment, I'm glad to see that some of the categorical, especially the SPS funding, is being restored, and I'm hoping with the new budget, I got a supporter back there. I'm hoping with all the new monies that are coming out that a lot of the categorical funding that has been reduced over the last few years will be not only restored but augmented even further. So this looks good. It's always good to get more than we hoped for.
The format's nice, too.
Mm-hmm.
The format of this presentation is also nice and readable.
Good, I'm pleased with that
Yeah.
because, it's always a little bit awkward because it can be a little bit complex, but, for me, it's a lot better in a timely manner because, quite frankly, when I look back at past budgets, they weren't updated as time went along, just money came in. And this gives you an opportunity to see how it plays out through the year and how we get increased allocations for those programs.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, John.
On that note, I was hoping that everybody would see when we were doing the consent agenda that we've reformatted some of the things
Yes.
in that budget area, and it is much, much easier to read.
Thank you,
when
Madam
you
Chair.
look
That
at
was
that.
my complaint last
And
month,
that
and
was
I meant to
something-
bring that
and
up,
it's
and I
still in the
forgot.
process, I've been told. They're
Yes,
going to make
that's
it even
much-
simpler,
Thank you.
simpler and categorize it.
I think that's
a little
why
bit
we
easier.
didn't have any questions this month.
Right.
Yeah, we were just like, it just went,
Understood it.
boom. Okay.
We're working on it.
Thank you.
They're working on that. Okay, so seeing no further discussion on this item, Student Trustee Campbell, your advisory vote.
Aye.
And this is a roll call vote, so Dr. Kinnaman will conduct the roll call vote at this.
Student trustee Campbell.
Aye.
Trustee
Okay.
Broughton.
Aye.
Trustee O'Neill.
Aye.
Trustee Wilson.
Aye.
Trustee Sanchez.
Aye.
Trustee Stefan.
Aye. And this motion is carried unanimously. It had her separate, so I guess roll call. She does count. Okay. Okay, at this time, we have one item that we have added to our agenda officially prior to the beginning of the meeting, and this will be C1, and this is the math curriculum. I need a motion at this time, and I believe Trustee O'Neill, you had all the facts and figures and the data exactly right to be able to make that motion, so could you?
Roll this together, or do we want to wait until it's almost lunchtime? Did we want to roll this with the study session information?
That's a very good idea. So that would be,
Postpone that. Then I'll have
so
the
if the
data.
board would like, we will leave this for afterward because it will be part of our study session. And does anyone have anything else they would like to bring up at this time? I don't think, I remember I said with flexibility. Parliamentarian, are you paying attention to me? I said with flexibility. Okay, I don't believe that we could get through any of the other things, but there are some things that I did forget to mention in my report, if I could have a little liberty here to bring those items up, because I can be a real dunderhead, I'm sorry. And yes, I'm in a real great mood. When I'm not in pain, I'm in a real great mood, so I'm not taking anything, I'm just happy. Not in pain.
Yeah,
Okay, I wanted to encourage the board to attend the flex days. Okay? I think it's really important. I know that I have a hard time, and it can usually get to nighttime activities, so I hope we have some nighttime activities besides the dinner. Otherwise, I just look like I'm a dang pig, which I am anyhow, but that's okay. And then the Community College League is having their conference in San Diego in the fall. And I would like to encourage the board members to please put those dates on your calendar, because it would be great if we could attend as a board. We've done that in the past, and it's really wonderful. We divvy up where we can go, and we can get everything in maybe if we need to. Okay, we have a league election coming up, and I know this is somewhere else that I'm supposed to bring it up again, so I'll bring it up again later. But we have the league election coming up, so when you get that, please respond, vote, and get it back to Angela in record time so that we can get that in and, on time. It's always nice. I know a lot of us forget to turn in our mileage. We do a lot of things. We always give our wonderful reports. Please remember to turn in your mileage. The dates, I believe, are September 1 to December 31st. Is that right? Yes, for this period. October 1, I'm sorry. October 1 to December 31st, and technically they should be in no later than January 31st. That's the end of this month, okay? So you need to get home and look up all those things that you did from October, November, December. You did a lot of things. I've listened to all your reports. So please get those dates into her by January 31st. It's great that we have them on the minutes, all the things that we did, and you kept a list of them, and you gave that report. But, you know, you're entitled to a little bit of reimbursement there. It doesn't come to a big pile of money. You're not going to look like that guy riding his motorcycle on that ad. But please try to get that in, because it does show the public, you know, financially that, you know, you did do that. Sometimes they don't think if you got paid for it, you didn't do anything. I don't know why. Okay, and please, if you have anything that should go on the calendar, or you have questions about for the calendar that you want us, other board members to attend, maybe you hear of something, send that to me so that I can send it to Angela so that we can get it put on the calendar. Okay, especially student activities on campus. I know there's a lot coming up, and I know I miss them. Faculty, I know, try to send us stuff all the time. Please continue doing that. But board members, you hear of things out in your community. If you want us out there in attendance,
Chair,
please do that.
Would you like to mention
No,
that, Lisa?
she's one that mentioned yet.
Okay.
I don't want to interrupt.
Okay. Thank
She'll send it out. She'll get it to us. Okay, and I think that's all that I forgot to mention before. And right now, we're still about 2 minutes short. I don't think anyone will object if we take an early recess. We might be able to start on time. Was that a yellow card for me?
Well, it's a yellow card for you.
What did I do? Huh? Oh, I'm bad. Oh, I'm in trouble again. I got a red card before, and Macy didn't fire me yet. Okay, so at this time, we will take a recess. Now, reconvene to open session, and in closed session, we took no real action. So we have nothing to report out. Huh?
No fake action, sir.
No fake action. No action. No. We ate and talked. Okay. Vanessa, just what you always wanted to know. That brings us to action item C1, and this is the issue of math curriculum. It was added to the agenda, and I believe Trustee O'Neill
That would be me.
had the numbers and the correct language from that.
And
I
Trustee
apologize.
Broughton graciously wrote it down for me. I move that we motion to consider items from the previous agenda of December, with the curriculum modifications 54 through 58, which were math classes 001A, 001B, 002A, 002B, and 002C.
Okay, one question I have of parliamentarian, the way you worded that was to consider. Does that make it an action item to consider, or does it have to be a Motion to approve or motion to not approve?
My understanding, if my recollection is correct, we moved it to this meeting, so that entire item would just move forward.
So it would be to approve?
Right, when it was first adopted, the motion.
Okay. Okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Is that acceptable?
Stand corrected. So moved.
Okay. And do I have a second? It's been moved and seconded that we approve the math curriculum as it was presented at the last meeting. And we are now open for discussion, and at this time, we're also going to open it up for our study session. Is that a good way to put that, I guess?
I'm going to move around.
So you're going to move around and give us a little
Leslie will be joining me.
something here.
Madam.
Okay, so the way that we approached this study session was to try to gather some information to answer some specific questions that you as a board asked a month ago. And so what we'll do today is we'll update you on the information that we have been able to collect, as well as hear any additional questions that you might have, and then I'd like to make a recommendation when we conclude.
Okay.
All right, so just to begin in context, the role of the administration in curriculum approval is really to look at issues that are non-content related. For example, in this case, the way that we were considering and are considering are things that have to do more with the institutional responsibility for curriculum, certainly not the discipline perspective. And I want to make that clear. So the areas that you've been asking, the questions that you've been asking regarding this curriculum proposal have to do specifically with a few areas, and we'll just kind of work through those. The first question that you asked last month was, who else is teaching this curriculum in this way? And so what I can tell you is that at this point, we've been able to do an audit of the districts that are considered our peer group in the Chancellor's Office scorecard college grouping. And there are 19, is that correct, Annabelle? There are 19 colleges in that group that the Chancellor's Office uses as a comparable group. And at this point, of that comparable group, we cannot find any examples of laboratory lecture combinations in the STEM pipeline, although I will say that there is one college that is offering lab hours in their pre-algebra course. So we did find one example of a lecture lab combination in a pre-algebra course at one of the colleges. So I can answer and give you that update. The next piece, and I asked Dean Berg to provide a report to me, although he's not here today, provided a written report, because there was a question about, do we have the resources to implement this curriculum proposal? And his report to me reflects that in order to fully implement this curriculum proposal, if we are seeking technology as a platform for lab, which the course outlines of record reflect that technology is a part of that lab, it would require us to create an additional lab with the math department having access to that. His assessment is that it would take an additional 40 hours of lab, roughly 40 hours. And so we would need to outfit an additional computer lab and make that available.
A whole lab room.
One classroom, a lab. One lab.
Okay.
In order to afford the hours to the sections that would require the additional lab hours. And so that's the report that I can give you in terms of resources. There is a nominal impact in terms of staffing, in terms of what we call faculty load, but I would say that that's negligible.
Would this need classified staffing also to operate during the That 40-hour
Well,
week?
the lab hours as proposed here are supervised by the faculty of record. So my expectation, and I haven't heard anything that contradicts that, is that it's actually the faculty of record who is supervising those hours. So there's no indication that there would be additional staffing needs. Okay, so far we've covered the issue about do we have resources to implement this issue? Are other colleges regionally or in our like group doing this? Other questions that have come up have to do with compliance with ADA and also issues of success and some questions about past curriculum changes. Were they not successful? And so on these two items, I'm going to turn to Leslie and to Annabelle because they've been able to do some research in those areas and can at least provide you with an update.
Okay, so I've been asked to address the accessibility issue of the web-based requirements of the math software. So I was able to determine, mostly from the bookstore, that the 4 web-based softwares that are used in the math programs are Alex, my math lab, which also includes my stat lab, WebAssign or Enhanced WebAssign, and a program called XYZ. So and so I look to see if those programs are fully accessible for our students with disabilities. And I contacted Geyer Dietrich, who is the director of the High Tech Center Training Unit, and they provide training and tech support in the area of web accessibility for California community colleges. And this is a quote from her. "No math programs are 100% accessible at this time. Alex and my math lab are partially accessible. However, it is only certain problems that are accessible. You have to choose the problems marked with an icon showing that the problems are accessible, but the companies do not do a very good job of explaining this distinction, and if you have not chosen accessible problems, there is no way to make the other problems accessible. There is one free stat package that is accessible. It's called Our Project for Statistical Computing, but it's not easy to use for a beginner to navigate, and we don't use that. We're not using that at this time. So I just want to add one thing. Because there is no math programs that are 100% accessible, the way that the courts look at this is that you have to provide what's called an equally effective opportunity for the student needing that accessibility. And the way to do that is to offer the class at the similar time with the same qualifications of instructor, not using that inaccessible program. So that's what has to be done to counteract the issue of not having fully accessible web-based learning. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And we don't do that now.
Why is it not accessible?
It's really a vendor problem, Becky, because until the colleges refuse to purchase these products, until they are fully accessible, they will not do it because they're selling it,
Right.
you know, and schools are buying it without it being accessible. So it's really within the power of the community colleges and the purchasers to refuse to buy this until it is fully accessible. The knowledge that I've been able to gain from the listservs is that they're working on it. And it's becoming more accessible, and they're trying. In the meantime, what we have to do by law is to create an equally effective opportunity for those students who cannot access.
And if I may add, from my historical experience, when the math department here, I was on staff, first went into using some computer-based assistance in their programs, the issue was an issue then. And we're looking probably now 15, 16 years ago. So we've not improved.
And this has been a federal law that requires us to have fully accessible materials since 2003.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Board of Trustees, executives, and esteemed guests. I'm here to talk about the success rates and some of the content analysis and some other questions you have in terms of comparable coursework. So we looked at, so there was a change where additional lab hours were added. One change was from Math 50 to Math 54, and the other change was for Math 40, additional lab hours to another Math 40, and then there was a change, and we studied it 3 years prior to, 3 years after, which is really common in research, to see what the average success rate in terms of kind of isolating the intervention, so to speak. So for the change from Math 50 to Math 54, there was an increase in success rates. The average is as high as 10%. From the change from Math 40, when they added the additional lab hours, there was a decrease in success rate as high as 10%. So in looking at those two, it's kind of inconclusive. However, what we do is a content analysis on the course outlines of record. So with the Math 40 change and the Math 40, pretty much the course objectives were very similar. It was just an addition of the lab hours. When we compared the course outline of record for Math 50 and Math 54, we found there was a third new course objectives added, and there was changes to about a third of the course objectives. Math requested the content analysis of the 50 to 54 course outline of record, and I did send that to Professor Learn so he could review the content analysis that we did. So based on the content analysis, even though there was an additional lab hours from the Math 50 to the Math 54, in our opinion, in research, it's a different course, and which lends itself to a different course numbering, where the Math 40 to the Math 40 is the same course. In terms of the course outline of record. Now, since this is essentially social statistics, there's all kinds of reasons why or why not, but we didn't get to dig deeper, but that's our initial. Now, in terms of the comparison cohorts, as Executive Vice President Davies stated, we did an analysis on 2 comparison cohorts. One was Region 9, and one was the comparison cohort as the State Chancellor's Office defined it based on our scorecard. So similar demographics, similar size, and there's a lot of factors. And Dr. Martinez is more well-versed in terms of the cohort at that level. So the Region 9 cohort, there was only a couple schools that had additional lab hours in terms of some of the college-level courses, but by the majority, none of them have additional lab hours. In terms of the comparison cohorts, the only one where we found additional lab hours was the pre-algebra course, and I think that was in one district. Then we did a comparison cohort to the transfer. So part of the reason a transfer degree was created, or CID numbering was created, was so that we could transfer the units to the CSU or the, and in the future, hopefully the UCs. So we looked at CSU San Bernardino and CSU San Marcos to see if their equivalent or articulated college-level math course had lab hours. So when we did our comparison, they were all 4 units and lecture only, no lab hours. We did that for CSU San Bernardino, CSU San Marcos, and UCR, which is some of our high feeder schools. And later on, another school that we transferred to is CSU San Diego State, I'm sorry. But the CSU system is a little more organized in curriculum because of the centralized Chancellor's Office. So we found no lab hours for those 3 institutions. So to understand the change is, so I'm not sure if it's clear. Even with the 4 units, when a transfer degree or a model or curriculum is lent out, there's different ways to build the units. So the 1 unit of lecture hour means for 1 unit of lab hours, even though they're both 1 unit, you just in effect added more in classroom hours. So that's where the change. So there's different ways to create the 4 unit courses, and that's what we found.
Question. Mm-hmm. If just for clarification, if a student was to take course A here under the proposal, they would be required to have that course and lab hours. They could take the same course at Cal State, be 4 units, less seat time, same course.
That's right. That's correct. So if ours was 108 hours or 96 hours, and it would equate it to 4 units, depending how we built the lecture or lab, they would have less hours, same credits, same course, it's articulated, and less seat time. That's correct.
So we, in effect, could be encouraging people not to get the AA, finish up to here at COD and just move on, because they could move on and not have as many requirements, so to speak. I mean, they could, instead of staying here for 2 years and getting an AA.
So you're asking a statistician. That's speculation.
Well, yeah.
Well,
I meant.
And I would just clarify, Michael, these are courses that are part of the STEM major. These are not the course that's required to transfer. So the course that's required to transfer is the algebra course. And so this is really.
So if you were a STEM major, though.
If you were a STEM major, that might apply.
We couldn't be encouraged subtly saying, well, if you're going to stay here, you're going to spend more time in this. I mean, students figure this out. We can all go online and compare course A to course B.
Yeah, and I would defer. You know, our student ASCOD president, John Cepeda, has articulated his perspective on that several times. So I won't speculate what the students might perceive. I think he's done a fair job of sharing with you their perspective on the impact.
But I guess my bottom question is, there could be an impact. It could. Okay.
Okay. So the final piece I just would like to share with you is that I had an opportunity to speak with the Vice Chancellor of Academic Affairs at the California Community College Chancellor's Office. And so this is the individual who's ultimately responsible for curriculum approval at the state level. And because there were some objectives in the course outline that seemed a bit unclear, I wanted to get some technical assistance from the Chancellor's Office just to make sure that I was working from the same page that they might look at when the curriculum comes to them for approval. And so I had an opportunity to send the draft course outlines of record. I also sent to them a document that I had prepared and shared with our academic senate locally before the courses were considered for approval in December. And I received a response from the Chancellor's Office just this week, and basically they reiterated where I believe we are, and that is that the course outlines as they are currently written do not, I think, specifically enough address the objectives of the lab. What is the lab? Is the lab distinct learning? Is the lab homework? I think that's unclear as it's written. And it was unclear to them as well at the Chancellor's Office. So their comments to me, which I received in email, were, we really need to take one of two directions. We either need to keep the course 72-hour, 4-unit lecture and not get into the issue of what is the lab, do we have the resources for the lab, just really cleanly define it as lecture. Or if we want to have the lab, which I believe is an option for us, and then the course outline needs to really be revisited to specify laboratory objectives, and then also specify homework assignments so that it's clear how the entire course is delivered to a student, and then we can reasonably assure students that the course that they're receiving, no matter what time of day or what teacher or what location, it's the same course being delivered to them. So that was their feedback, was to really consider one of those two options. And that leads me to kind of my summary and my recommendation, and that is that a lot of this work has happened over the last month. And the last month, we've not had the opportunity to dialogue with faculty because we've been away. So although I think it's important to know that we have a peer group and we've discovered some information about their math curriculum as it compares to ours, and I think it's important that we have information on compliance from an ADA perspective, as well as an understanding of what it would take in order for us to deliver this curriculum consistently. I don't think that's as important today as the acknowledgement that we haven't had this conversation, we haven't been able to have this conversation with our Senate. So to circle back with them and share with them this information, I feel is really critically important. And so what I would like to request respectfully is the opportunity to do that, to go back to the Senate or the group that the Senate recommends, whoever that is, as well as the department faculty, and really sit down and share all of this with them in order to allow them the opportunity to either agree that the resources that it would take are necessary and they're in support of that the compliance issues can be addressed effectively, and we understand what that is, that we all have an agreement before we come back and make some request of the board to approve the curriculum. So that's where I sit today, is really respectfully asking for a bit more time in order to meet with our Senate and dialogue more about this, bring this new information to them, and allow them the chance to chart a path forward with full information.
Are we on a timeline at this point?
We have, we've gone past the deadline that was set by the Chancellor's Office for the Associate's Degree for Transfer compliance. And I've informed the Chancellor's Office of that. They're aware, but they're also aware that we're working through the issue. And so at this point, there's no apparent consequence of that delay other than they know we're working on it and that we hope to get this back to them as quickly as we can. Locally, the existing curriculum will stay in place until we have an approved curriculum that changes. So we will continue to be able to offer courses.
When would it have to be in place by for the next catalog? If we did make the change.
The curriculum deadline is in November?
Fall, but we've gotten better at the addendums that we do for catalogs, which go before you.
Okay.
So if we can figure out a way to add it through an addendum.
Yeah, I would like to say that we can find a way to make sure that if the courses come back through in the next month or so, then we would find a way to get those back into the catalog in order to have that part of a student's catalog for next year. Okay. Yeah.
And this, regardless, nothing goes into effect until the fall semester. That's the fall 2015, 2016 catalog.
Yes.
So we're not going to do harm to students currently.
No.
I have a little clarification. You kind of bunched together the lecture, the lab, and the homework. My understanding is that it being a college class, that homework is required, but it doesn't count in your hour credit that you get for the class. Is that the right?
It actually does count for the credit.
So how does that work?
The Chancellor's Office has a formula for credits, and I'm going to try to pull up my document here that refers to that so that I don't speak out of turn. But the Chancellor's Office has a formula that they use to calculate credit. And in essence, it says that for every 1 unit of credit, a student completes 3 hours of work. Typically, one of those hours is in a classroom setting, and then there are homework assignments outside of class that count towards the total effort for the unit. Now, lab classes are different. Lab classes traditionally have 3 hours of in-class work for one unit of credit because there's not homework outside of the lab. So the total effort is the same. According to the Chancellor's Office, the total effort is the same. 3 hours is 3 hours is 3 hours. However, how the student makes that 3-hour experience is different.
Right.
One is partial in class, partial homework. One is fully in class without homework. And so we are tasked to validate at the local level that a 3-unit class really constitutes 9 hours of effort per week. And that's done through in a lecture sense. It would be 3 hours in class and 6 hours of homework. And so that's why in the course outline of record, you see assignments, sample assignments, because they want the Chancellor's Office, and locally we want to see what are the types of homeworks that are required for that particular course. And then it asks for lab hours and lecture hours to be defined and the objectives for each of those.
The Chancellor's office has obviously not had many science labs because they would know that you do as much work outside of that lab as you do inside. But that's another thing.
Yes.
That's another story.
That's another story. That's another story. So homework actually does count, and that's what's called the total effort. There is there's a document called the Program and Course Approval Handbook. It's only about 300 pages, but it defines for us all of the specifications that a course must demonstrate in order to be approved, and it gives us some guidelines in order to consider how to approve courses at the local level. And that's where I think the Chancellor's Office has encouraged us to take another look at that course as it's currently proposed, to beef it up and to make sure that we all understand what those lab requirements are, what those lecture requirements are, and how the two combine with the homework to earn the total units, so that the student's not earning more units than they're granted, and they're not earning less units than we are collecting apportionment for. So it's a balancing act. And my bottom line is, I said this to the department chair when we had a chance to meet, I believe that lab hours can be effectively incorporated into the lecture if our faculty feel that that is the most effective way to improve success. There is a way for us to do that. And we need to be sure that we all understand what that way is and that we come to agreement that we all feel as though it's articulated well. So that's why I want a chance to go back and talk to them with all of this information, give them a chance to reflect, and give our Senate a chance to weigh in and help move us forward.
Thank you.
Since we would be based on the information we have, we may be the only college that would do this type of combined lecture lab for those courses. Is there any way to determine, compared to, I want to say this, we have a success rate, a completion rate, a success rate for each of our classes based on what we're teaching now. Can we compare, do we have access to that information from other colleges who are teaching this as a 4-unit course now, so that we could compare, are they being 95% successful with what they're doing compared to what we've been doing, maybe at 35% successful? Do you see where I'm heading here?
No, we actually, we were looking at some stuff in research, and we don't necessarily have access to kind of the current year success rates for other colleges, but we do have access to the data mart and the scorecard and colleagues. However, what we did do was look at what's considered the best performing schools in basic skills courses. Your Santa Monica, your Santa Barbara, who have an average, in terms of their scorecard data, they have average success rates in their math sequences about at 40%, where ours staggers in the 20%. And we took a look at theirs. We didn't actually map it out. We started to, but right now it's typical to find the 4-unit lecture, but we can look at what we call the high achieving schools in those disciplines as well. But someone like a Santa Barbara did a different, when they beefed up their success rates to win the Aspen Prize, they followed similar models and accelerated pathways the way our English faculty have done. So that probably had an impact combined in their pathways.
But you were looking at basic skills, and these are STEM classes. Is there any way that we could compare our STEM classes with other schools, how successful our STEM students are with how successful STEM students from other schools are?
I believe anything is possible, but we would have to individually ask those colleges to provide us with that data at the course level. Okay. So it would take a little time, but I believe we could contact schools and
information back, and maybe that could also be part of your presentation with the faculty.
We can.
Maybe they could also help out with that if they have colleagues in other colleges even.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we can certainly pursue that.
It might be information that the faculty would find, as Trustee Stefan was saying, I think it might be information that they could see, this course is working this way. What's different about what they're doing? Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions you have of our study team for the study session? Any other discussion? Okay, that brings us to
Well, I would like to make a motion.
Oh, you'd like to make a
Motion to postpone this till next month's meeting to give Executive Vice President Davies and staff and the President a chance to meet with faculty and the Faculty Senate, share all the information that we've had shared, plus any additional information that they can gather, and then bring this back to the February meeting have it back on the agenda at that time. Did I do that correct, Carlos?
on the agenda. Is he asking for a postponement, or does he need to make a motion for that?
He's making a motion to postpone.
Okay, you're making a motion to postpone, so we need a second.
And I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to postpone this and bring it back on the full agenda at the next meeting for further discussion and possibly more steady information brought back to us, either prior to the board meeting or at that time. Okay. Is there any discussion on that? Seeing none. Student trustee Campbell, your advisory vote.
Aye.
And all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Seeing no abstention, or are there any abstentions? Seeing none, this motion was carried unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you for the information. Thank you for
very
the
much. Thank all
information, and
three
I
of you.
hope we'll be able to get this resolved when we get all of the facts and figures brought to us. Okay. Okay, at this time, if you'll look in your board packet, we have information items. We have, this is information and discussion items. We have review of the board policy 2210, officers of the board. And this was the information that was requested of us last time because somebody brought up our board policy. This is for you to look at. Do we have any discussion?
Well, I'm the one that brought it up, so if I may.
Yes.
The way the policy is currently written, it conflicts. The first sentence says with the board will vote and select, and the first paragraph, and then the last paragraph says that we use a system of rotation, and those two are contradictory to each other. So, realizing that there were reasons why the policy was written the way it was, I do think it does make for confusion. I do think we should consider either going with a vote or going with a rotation system, or maybe even a third option of some other combination. I don't know what, I have a few ideas, but I don't know if you want to share them at this time or not. But there have been in the past some people on the board who chose never to be chair. And if we follow that rotation system, you could move through the rotation system, get to be the vice chair, and say, well, I don't want to be chair. Well, then you don't have anybody who's been working their way through to be chair. On the other side, there have been in the past some individuals who the board felt would not make good board chairs, and they were never nominated to be board chair. And I was sitting in the audience at those times, and I could fully support the board's decision as to why those individuals would not be good as board chairs. So I think there's a lot for the board to consider here, and perhaps this may be the time to do that. That's all I'm saying. Whatever the board's choice, but I do think we need to make some kind of alteration to make this policy really workable. So that's
Okay.
just my comments.
Anyone else have anything they'd like to say about that at this time?
It came to us as an informational item, so.
Oh, this dear.
Information and
so-
discussion.
So, if we have any suggestions as to changes, how should we go about doing that?
Well, if there's nobody else wants to say anything at this time, what I would like to do is I would like to put this into a committee that is headed by Trustee O'Neill. because you brought this forward. Ha ha, see how I make you work? And if I
Frame
could
me
get
up, man.
Trustee Broughton to, because I know that you were on the committee prior to that added that other piece at the end, the rotation.
Yes.
So if you two could work on that, I would appreciate that if there's no objections from the board.
I'm sorry, to work on it
Bring it back next month and see if there's something that we could do with it so that it would make more sense.
We'll come back with suggestions. Anybody that has suggestions.
And if you have any
Please.
suggestions.
Submit them.
Please submit them to Angela so that we don't look like we're having
Angela,
a...
so that it goes forward. Otherwise, we have a 3 committee and we
Yes,
don't,
that's
or a
right.
4 committee or a 5 committee. But if you submit them to Angela, she can forward them to the committee of 2 people. So it is not a formal committee and we don't violate the Brown Act, because we're very conscious of that. And then they can bring something back to the board that we can possibly take action on to make our policy so it's a little bit more clear.
Maybe we, just as a thought, maybe we would want to come back with option A, B, and C, or something like that.
Right.
And
Something
people,
like
that might simplify the
And
discussion.
it is a policy, so it does require 2 readings. So next time could be a first reading, well,
Right, and we're not in a rush because
it's a
we're
first
not
reading.
going to
There's
be
no rush.
changing
Yeah.
officers, so, I mean, we
Yeah.
have a while to work on this.
Okay.
and then if we get that underway, maybe we can look at some of our other policies that we need to look at this year as well. Okay?
I do think we have
And-
sort of slipped on the policies because this one was supposed to be reviewed in 2013 and it wasn't.
Yes.
So I
And-
think we need to take a look to see when our review dates are. Cause
What our review dates are, and not only that, because Trustee Sanchez and myself will be working on the board packet, we need to make sure our board policies are very well written and that there's nothing that could be disputed by someone coming on. Okay? So that takes care of our information discussion item. The next item is distribution of board self-evaluation instrument. Now, this is a misnomer, and the reason I say it's a misnomer is because when I first was on the board, and I know probably everybody did the same thing, you got your Board of Trustees self-evaluation packet. And I filled it out. I'd only been on the board 4 months, and I looked at it and I said, okay, that one there, board officer responsibilities are clear. And I went, no, I'm new on the board. I don't understand everything I'm supposed to do, even though I had been to training. I had everything drilled into my head. I hadn't had time to assimilate it yet. But it's not for you individually. It's us as a board. And this is what we have to keep stressing to ourselves. So we'll pass these down. Let's see, I'll just take one, and then you guys can have the rest. Please get these back to Angela as soon as possible. What deadline do you want? Because we'd like to have these to be reviewed at the next meeting. So would you like them the end of the month? The 31st of January. So there's 2 things that I'm requesting of you by the 31st of January. One is this, and the other one was your mileage from October 1 to December 31st. If you remember, I did bring that up.
Trustee is also included in this.
Yes, she
so
is.
she
We
also
don't
will
have
need a
another
copy.
one, so I'll pass.
Well, actually, I'll give her mine, and just make
Mine down?
myself a note to pick up another one. But
And you'll pick up another
Yeah,
one, you'll
pick
be
up
down
another
here in the
one.
next few days. Okay.
Right.
I'll keep that one then. She'll get down here before me.
I think, does somebody have 2?
No.
Really?
it's okay. I can
No.
just pick up one.
Because we do want to get on top of these and make sure
It's
we
okay.
do
I
this
just
every
pick
year. I
up
know
one.
there was one year where we kind of let it go and it was November or December, and
Yes.
then we had to do
We don't
another
wanna
one
do
3
that
months
again.
later.
Mhm.
And that's not what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be evaluating
Chair?
ourselves. Yes, and if there's something you'd like to add, please add it to the comments. If there's something you think we're doing or that we should be doing, or something that should be changed on this, because we don't, when a person takes over as the board chair, they don't have time for the board to review this and go through it and rewrite it before we pass it out. It's due within the next few months, okay? So remember, though, we are evaluating the board as a whole, how we are functioning as a board.
Are we going to be doing a composite score again, or because when we did the individual by trustee A, B, and C, it became very confusing.
No, we're going to be doing a composite score because that's the way that they look at it, the credentialing, I believe. They look at the composite. They don't look at how each individual trustee rated the board. They really don't care about that opinion on it. Okay. And we did find another one. Thank you.
Thank you.
30th of January, because I believe the 31st is what, a Saturday? Okay.
You're not working that day?
Yeah.
No.
So the 30th, so that she has it, you know, if you do it by 5 p.m., then she's got it when she comes back to work that Monday, the beginning of February, and she's got to work diligently because our meeting has been moved up on that month. And that's something I do want to bring to the board's attention, and you can put a yellow card out because that's not what this is. Okay, the next item is the Labor Market Academic Programs by Dr. Daniel Martinez. And I apologize that we have you on at the very end of the day, but you'll notice it's not after 3 o'clock, even though it is the end, right? I can't wait to read this. We're going to adjourn at XXXX p.m.
Madam Chair, Board of Trustees, executives, and esteemed guests, thank you for this opportunity to come before you and to talk about academic programs and job projections as our office is put together.
Oh, I don't have a copy either. We don't have one.
Sorry?
There isn't a copy.
No, I'm sorry.
Okay.
But we can make copies available.
It'll be available after this meeting. Thank you.
I apologize for that. To discuss the link between our academic programs and jobs, there are several things that we will be talking about. We'll be talking about COD awards, which are our degrees and certificates, and how they are coded when we report them to the state. We will also be talking about the courses that we offer by top code, and I'll be talking about what a top code is in just a second. I'll talk about how we can actually link our information to occupations. And then I will be introducing a labor market tool that our office will make available to the college, to the faculty, the staff, whoever has access to it. Now, top code stands for Taxonomy of Programs. It's a standard coding scheme so that information between colleges can be compared and aggregated. Different colleges have different names for certain programs, but based on the content of those programs, the top code allows that information to be aggregated. Okay. So to start with, I would like to show you the top 5. Let me go back a step. I apologize. The top code is a 6-digit code that has a very specific degree of detail. You can also look at the top code at a 4-digit or a 2-digit code. Each time you go up, it becomes more general. Because this is a very broad kind of conversation for this presentation, the tool that I'll introduce has more specificity. I'll be talking about the 2-digit top code just to give us an idea of how we've done things here at COD. This next graph shows the top 5 areas by top code, by 2-digit top code, very general top code, that COD awarded in 2013-14. This one up, and then we tracked it back 5 years to see if it'd been growing or changing. This particular one is interdisciplinary studies, or as we would expect, are it's escaping me, liberal arts degrees. That's what this is. So most of the degrees that COD has awarded over the last 5 years has been in those areas. Sorry? This is followed by public and protective services that has had an increase, almost doubled over the last 5 years. Business management has stayed relatively stable. The health service is still in the top 5, but it has dropped almost by half. And the last one there is social sciences. Again, very broad. Top codes can also be applied to courses. And so one of the things that I was asked to do was to see if we can link the kind of courses that we do with the kind of awards that we give, to see if there's some kind of a pattern. Now that's kind of challenging, so what we decided to do in the research office was to use a methodology that the Chancellor's Office uses with the scorecard that we reported on last month. And that's specific for CT, but we applied it to all courses in this case. So what we did was to look at students who are enrolled in Fall 13, and we looked to see what courses they completed in the previous 6 years, because that's what the Chancellor's Office does. Then we aggregated those courses by 2-digit top code to see what kind of courses they were taking. It's a very rough proxy, kind of, for major. Major is a very squishy kind of a data element because students can change it pretty much whenever they want to. But what the 8-digit does, it helps us, the 8 units kind of gives us an idea of maybe this is where they want to concentrate their studies. So in descending order from left to right are those areas, the number of students in Fall 13 who've completed 8 or more units in these 2-digit top codes. So this one here is humanities, social sciences, mathematics, fine art and applied arts. I can go through all of them if you'd like. I know it's very difficult to read, but I was trying to give you kind of the idea, because you can see there are big areas: humanities, social sciences, and math. What we then did was to look at the same information, but limit it to transfer level courses. Same students, 6 years, 8 units or more for transfer level only units. And we found this. So where students are completing lots of units in humanities, in English, and in math, when you limit it to transfer level courses, you can see that it drops considerably, which is what we would expect. I then took completions for 13-14 and just took the percentage of all completions and superimposed it on this to kind of help us get an idea, perhaps give us an idea of the relationship between where our awards are and the courses that students are finishing. Now this here is the liberal arts degree, the interdisciplinary studies. And of course, there's lots of humanities type courses that are in here. But we also gave degrees here, social science, in math, business and management. Again, this is degrees and certificates. So just to cut, this is a first glance, if you will, to see, just basically to see where our courses are and how they may align with the awards that we provide. Any questions or comments? Shall I keep it going?
On the interdisciplinary studies, where we awarded so many degrees, it's a compilation of all those other courses across the chart.
Right. I actually have
So there's no defined curriculum for interdisciplinary studies other than so many courses from each area, if I remember correctly. Is that correct?
Correct.
Or am I totally senile?
You're right.
Okay, totally senile? Okay.
So, so for instance, our top, I could actually ask for that information for specific degrees within the general degrees. So in descending order, humanities, actually their second largest degree or certificate that we granted in 13-14 was the high school diploma, which also includes in the interdisciplinary degree.
Oh, that's interesting.
I thought that was interesting, yes.
What about our GED?
It was included in the same one. Included in the same one. Humanities and social sciences, followed by biological and physical sciences. And there's even English as a second language that's in there as well. So, because I wondered about that question in interdisciplinary studies, and so our liberal studies or liberal arts degrees are counted in the interdisciplinary study.
But we still offer an liberal arts degree.
We do, and you might, if you can reflect back to around 2008-9, the Chancellor's Office passed some legislation that required us to go away from a generic associate's degree into an area of emphasis. If you remember back, they required us to, okay. So the interdisciplinary studies is the result of that change away from an associate's degree in general studies to an associate's degree in interdisciplinary studies. And so that's why you see that. But you're right, Michael, it is a compilation of courses across the curriculum.
Is it still appropriate? Because if you look at the graduation booklet, you will see liberal arts degrees.
That's the area of emphasis, liberal arts.
Within interdisciplinary
I believe
studies.
that's how. Yeah, I believe that's how it's worded.
Okay, I was trying to put all these pieces together.
Yeah, and you know, as Daniel has said, the goal of this is to begin to understand how our top declared majors, so in other words, what the students tell us they want to major in, relates to the courses that we're offering in the schedule and how those relate to the awards that we're making. Not that it's perfect, right? Because oftentimes what students tell us is their intended major. Like students don't major at the lower division level. They prepare to major. So we're looking really at major prep versus a major. And it gets a bit complicated because business is a good example. It's consistently our highest declared major. However, major prep for business is to a large degree in economics. So not necessarily a business course, but an economics course. So this is really a wonderful first step at trying to begin to see the trends in where students tell us they want to go in the curriculum, what we're actually offering in the curriculum, both at the basic skills and the transfer level, and then what we're awarding at the end of the day. So I really just want to commend Daniel for...
I think it's a great piece of information, but I think that in many areas we seem to be fairly on target. I mean, we seem to be offering, like in information technology, ag, we seem to be where we need to be in a lot of these areas. Am I reading that correctly?
As a first blush, that's how I would read that, yeah. And I say a first blush because we haven't had a chance to talk with faculty about this. As we try to digest this information, it's only been a small group of us, and you're some of the first, who have had the opportunity to take a look at it. So as we dig deeper into this, hopefully we collectively will understand it better and have a better understanding. And just hopefully this will help just a little bit. Those categories of top that are up there, that's how the document classifies it. So the interdisciplinary study, they call the 49s the interdisciplinary studies at the 2-digit level. At the 4-digit level, that's where they get very specific about the humanities, liberal arts, those kinds of things. So it could be just the way that the document, how it refers to itself. All right. And now for some fun stuff. the link between programs and jobs requires 4 different codes. We start with our academic programs. Those are the specific things that students say they want to take. They want to get a certificate in horticulture or a degree in math or something like this. That's the most granular level of data that we have. Those programs get rolled up into top codes, or what we call majors. So there's usually several programs within a major. Top codes are kind of specific to the state of California. What happens nationally is the SIP code, or Classification of Instructional Programs. The top code, SIP code connection is pretty much one-to-one, but not quite. But it's very, very close, but it's just not quite exactly one-to-one. So top is California, SIP is the rest of the nation. And then we have the SOC code, Standard Occupational Classification. That's a way to tell what kind of jobs and occupations the students have. And the SOC codes are usually associated with SIP codes. So for us to know how we go from a program, we have to go from program to top to SIP to SOC. I tried to make I made a graph that I thought might help. So here it is. I said thought. So up here are your academic programs. You have multiple academic programs that feed into the top code. The top code is pretty closely the same as a SIP code, but not quite. And then the SIP code to SOC code, a SIP code can go to different occupations, and different occupations can go to different SIP codes. Here's a couple of examples. So for our accounting major, we have these 2 academic programs that are part of that major: accounting AS degree and account certificate. And then these are jobs associated with that major, that SIP code. So you have one major, but you have different academic programs. Another example is where you have, these are different majors: agricultural business, horticulture, plant science, and yet these highlighted areas are occupations that are the same, even though they go to different majors. So hopefully so it's kind of I don't want to say fluid, but it's not a very clean match, and so occupations do show up in that. In terms of the link of occupations to the job market, our top 5 awards were mapped to 10 occupations in the Coachella Valley. We then looked at the annual income of those occupations and then graphed them here in descending order. For management occupations here, life, physical science. We then looked to see the growth of these jobs based on openings between 2013 and 2020. And this is what we found. Of the 10 occupations that our programs link to, 5 of them have a growth rate of more than 10%, the ones above that line. Now, one of the questions that is pretty common right now is about a living wage. It's different than a minimum wage. It's about a living wage. We found a document based out of MIT that has living wage by state and then within the state by county. So using that information, we then plotted that on our graph here. And what you can see for the 5 areas where we give awards and how they map to 10 occupations with these growth areas, 2 of them have salaries above the living wage based on that information we found from MIT. But these 3 areas sales and related occupations, community and social service occupations, and healthcare support occupations are clearly below that line. So that's something for us to be aware of. The areas that are above the living wage line, as you can see, business and financial operations, and healthcare practitioners, technical occupations, which is, I think, what we would expect. Any questions? So what I've been trying to show you, just so we can get like a bird's eye view, because it's a lot of information, there's a lot of detail in it, was to look at things at that general 2-digit level, very general area. What my office would like to do, and I think this tool takes us a large step forward, is to provide this information in a way that people can look at it in a more granular level. So this tool, this first page, gives them some information about what's included in it, how it's defined, that kind of a thing. Somebody can go in here and select options. These options allow people to get more specific with, they can look by division, they can click on one of these and see what areas are there. They can see if it's a vocational program. Here's another piece of data that we get from MZ, which is the typical entry level of education. And here are the top titles, or majors. So if somebody wanted to find a major, let's say accounting. So someone picks accounting, and they click go. And it allows us to see, here's the major, here's the academic program that goes with it. And we provided, this is the information that we provided so far. And this is where I'd like to get some feedback from the faculty, from administration, to see what's useful to them. Hourly earnings in the Coachella Valley. This is growth in the Coachella Valley. Growth in the region, which includes basically all of Southern California. Riverside, San Bernardino, Orange, LA, San Diego County. And this is statewide. And then this shows the number of openings in those same 3 regions, Coachella Valley, regional, and then statewide. And so people in a particular discipline can go in here and say, I wonder what this looks like. They can go back and they can change it. Does anybody want to see anything in particular? Sorry?
Tourism. Our main staple is tourism. Hospitality.
Here's resort and club management. Actually, that's a good one. Because what you can do is we can go in here, and if you want to pick more than one, so I picked resort, and I think we have hospitality. Michael, can you hold the control key down? Is it there? Yeah. Okay. And by holding the control key down, you can select more than one thing. And we press go. So here's our majors, hospitality, and here's resort and club management. Here are the programs that we have: hospitality management, transfer, and then here resort golf management certificate. Here are the earnings, the growth. So I think this tool will be very helpful for the faculty. We are just into starting the season of our annual program review, which is a 5-year look at data. And one of the things that has been on the list has been labor market information. I don't know where that information was obtained from previously, but this tool will be available on our website, and people can go to it and click and find whatever they need.
So students can use this too, then?
We could make it available to students too. The Chancellor's Office also has a tool, they call it the Salary Surfer. I think that's what it's called. Yes. And it's designed as a kind of a marketing piece where a student can go and look for a particular job. What the Chancellor's Office does, they use data from the unemployment insurance database, the UI data. And they look at everybody who's completed a degree certificate, and they look at their salary earnings 2 and 5 years after they earn that particular thing. And then they also, a person looking at that can then go look at a particular college to see which areas offer that particular program. But yeah, we could make this available as well.
I see Amanda sitting back there. I think it'd be a good counseling. I mean, it's a great way to sit with a student and help them develop their education plans and where they're really interested and what are jobs. Do they want to leave the valley? Do they not want to leave the valley? I mean, those are all factors that you can pick up from this very quickly where the job market is.
One question I have is golf management certificate. Usually the people that major in golf management here, don't they manage the golf courses? And they don't become lodging managers? Or is that
Oh, that's actually a very good point. Thank you.
or would that be under agriculture? Or not?
No, I'm glad you brought that up. The SOC code, the Standard Occupational Classification Code, is there's no standard way that information maps to the SIP code or the major.
Oh, okay.
There's no standard way that does it. Right now, this is the way that MZ does it, but we're able to change that. And so actually, I think it would be a very good exercise, and I hope that the faculty will do this, is if they looked at the programs that they offered, they can look at the occupations that they map to, and if they'd like us to make changes, we can make those changes.
And that would go with the hospitality for the people working in the resorts, in management.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because that one, not everyone becomes a food service manager when you.
Right.
There's other jobs in the.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Still, you need to
Right.
make a different.
And like I said, we're this is again kind of this is also this is relatively new to me because I didn't use MZ before. I knew that it had some of this capability. So as we try to understand what the data says, how it's created, how we can link it better, I think that this tool just gets stronger, and we can see it that way. But I know that the state has contracted with MZ for CTE programs in their initiative, the Launch Board Initiative for CTE programs. And I think that there's also the Doing What Matters activities that also uses this information. So we're very lucky that we're able to have this information and then be able to use it at this level. I think I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, I'll just echo that and say the timing couldn't be better in terms of this information being rolled out and our beginning to embark on an educational master plan update, because as valuable as this will be for our faculty to look at projections within their own programs, as an institution looking forward 3 to 5 to 7 years, this will really be a valuable tool for us to look at new programs that we may need to develop that are growing that we don't currently have. And it can really help us predict where our growth is going to be directed in terms of our schedule growth. So I'm very excited that this is going to give us an opportunity this spring to really dig into this data, have lots of dialogue about it, and then begin to use it to plan our next 3 to 5 years in terms of our schedule growth.
And our hiring.
Yeah, I think something about to mention is our business partners, the people who do the hiring here in Coachella Valley. If we could have them, I'm echoing. It's when we could provide this, but I think it would be great to have a tool when they can give us input on hiring. We go to school so we can get a good job. So it would be great to get that input, not only of our faculty, of course, but the people who actually hire here in the Coachella Valley. I think would be a great start. What an innovative tool. What a great presentation. We are so lucky here for the Coachella Valley to have this being done. Excellent. It's about jobs. Thank you.
Thank you. That was a great presentation. I learned a lot.
Thank you,
I think we all did. Does anybody else have anything else that they would like to ask or bring forward to the good of the body here today?
Something of Martin Luther King. I think we're all going to be in our holiday, and maybe to acknowledge if we could close our meeting in remembrance of Martin Luther King, if I could have the support of the board. That would be okay.
Anything else anybody wants to bring forward? I noticed in the front of our board agendas here, our board packets, folders, notebooks. lead weights, whatever they are. You have a capital projects report for the Board of Trustees, and this is the January edition. I'm sure it will also be on our website as well. So take these with you, board members, please. And seeing no more business on our agenda, and if there are no objections to adjourning the meeting, we will close in memory of Dr. Martin Luther King, as it is his holiday this weekend, and we will be celebrating Monday. I am sure all of us will. This meeting is now adjourned at, and I turned off my phone, so somebody got their phone on real quick.
2:53.
2:53.